Good afternoon, Ms. Vaughn. I need a motion to go into open session. Can you
So
please call roll?
Mr. Conover,
Here.
Mr. Hikes, Ms. Hubbard,
Here.
Ms. Jones,
Present.
Mr. Davis,
Here.
Ms. Cousins.
Yes.
We have a quorum.
Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Vice President Davis, considering this will be your last official business meeting, can you please read the board norms?
St. Louis Board of Education norms. Decision making. We believe our first priority and greatest concern is the educational welfare of all students in St. Louis Public Schools. We align decisions, discussions, superintendent evaluations, district partnerships, budget allocations to the current transformation plan. We demonstrate respect for diversity of thoughts, backgrounds, and experiences, roles, and decisions once they have been made. We embrace healthy debate. We acknowledge board members with differing opinions during discourse in both open and closed sessions to gain clarity and engage in meaningful dialogue. We demonstrate engagement by thoroughly reviewing the board packet and other documents, arriving on time to meetings and work sessions, remaining on topic during discussions, and respectfully interacting with each other, the superintendent, staff, and all stakeholders. We demonstrate professionalism and respect for other board members, the superintendent, district staff, by adhering to timeliness and deadlines outlined in the workflow calendar. We conduct all official board-related email communications using our slps.org email. We conduct all official board-related phone and text using district-issued phones. We are ambassadors in the community, and as individual concerns or questions arise, we will seek to understand the information and gather pertinent facts in order to direct stakeholder staff to the appropriate district personnel. We channel concerns or requests for information through the board president, who will direct those to the superintendent. We recognize the importance of proactive communication and agree there will be no surprises. We respect and maintain the confidentiality of closed session items in the board's discussion on those items. We refrain from discussing confidential business in public. The board president shall be the official spokesperson for the board, the superintendent for the district. Board members who receive requests for board issue positions shall direct those to the board president or superintendent.
Thank you, Vice President Davis. Can I get approval of the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda.
I think we need a second first.
Understood. Second.
Is there any discussions?
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda. To move public comment up between announcements, or after announcements but before reports, so between 10 and 11.
Second.
Any discussions? Ms. Vaughn?
Mr. Conover,
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Cousins.
Yes.
I'm sorry, was that Mr.
It was Mr.
Hikes I heard?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Motion approved.
I need approval of the minutes, a motion to approve the minutes from 3/25/2025.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussions? Ms. Vaughn?
Mr. Conover,
Yes.
Mr. Hikes,
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Cousins.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Spirit of excellence. Gateway STEM students to appear on Show Me St. Louis. I'm excited to lift up a group of remarkable students from Gateway STEM High School who will be featured on Show Me St. Louis this Thursday, April 10th at 10 a.m. These students are participating in a creative media partnership with peers from other high schools, working together to develop a digital advertisement for KSDK. Their final presentation will be aired live on Show Me St. Louis. This opportunity is part of a long running collaboration between St. Louis Public Schools and KSDK. Now, in its 41st year, it's a beautiful example of what's possible when we connect our students with professionals and peers in real world learning environments. To the students from Gateway STEM, we're proud of the work you've done and can't wait to see your ideas brought to life on screen. To our families and community, tune in and celebrate this moment with us. Encouraging students during assessment season. As we move further into April, students across the district will begin participating in various assessments, including the MAP and, of course, EOC, exams, the ACT, and other standardized tests. These evaluations are designed to give insight into academic progress and help guide the instructional support we provide. I want to take a moment to encourage all of our students. You're ready. Your hard work, commitment, and perseverance throughout the school year have prepared you for this moment. Approach each test in confidence, knowing that your efforts are seen and celebrated. We believe in you, and we're proud of you. Dr. Borshay.
Good evening, President Cousins, members of the board, and to our audience. To continue with our spirit of excellence, we're going to be celebrating our future medical professionals, our Saturday scholars, and I would like the two sponsors to step forward. We begin this evening's spirit of excellence by acknowledging students from Gateway STEM High School and Collegiate School of Medicine and Bioscience who participated in the Saturday Scholars Program. In partnership with Washington University, this program connects SLPS high school students interested in medical careers with current medical students and professors. Over the course of several Saturdays in March, February and March, students engaged in hands-on learning, exploring pressing health issues, and developed original presentations that they shared at the program's culmination. Come on up, come on up. Tonight, a few of those students will share their reflections and takeaway from this transformative experience. Their insight and ambition represent the future of our healthcare in St. Louis. Go right ahead. Hit the red button. There we go.
Thank you very much. Good evening, board members and Dr. Boris Sade. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you and St. Louis Public Schools families about the medicine and anatomy programs. For years, when I was a student in St. Louis Public Schools, when I was a teacher, when I was a curriculum specialist, when I worked in this room as a divisional assistant, the motto of SLPS was children, the focus of all efforts. And let me say to you that this program in which these students have done, we looked at children as the focus of all of our efforts. In 1980, 44 or 45 years ago, yes, that long ago, I was working the school partnership program, St. Louis Public Schools, and I started this initiative as a part of the desegregation program with Vashon and Sumner High Schools paired with Parkway and Pattonville High Schools. The idea was to expose high school science students to various health and medical professions in a lecture and lab format, as well as to incorporate a subtle form of staff development or professional development for the teachers, and to facilitate desegregation among city and county students. We now, as a part of this program, we have students who've become doctors. We have students who have become nurses and who work in various medical fields. As a part of as a part of the school partnership program, you'll be pleased to know when we had a school partnership program, and my office was right there, we were cited among the 100 best partnerships in America. That was quite an accomplishment. Thank you very much. As the DSEG program was ending, the school partnership program became community-based resources, and our program became a triangulation among St. Louis Public Schools, Washington University School of Medicine and the University of Missouri School of Medicine in Columbia, and that's the way it is right now to this day. So currently, our medicine and anatomy components are Saturday Scholars, sponsored by Washington University School of Medicine, and Excellence in Learning, sponsored by the University of Missouri and Columbia, are available to all St. Louis public high schools. Any school in the city who'd like to do it at no cost to us, any student, any school, they're available to do this. Tonight, I'm pleased to have students from Gateway STEM and Collegiate School of Medicine and Bioscience tell you about their recent experiences with Saturday Scholars. And I'm sad to say, Audrey Jackson, who facilitates this program, could not be here because of an emergency. That's why I didn't realize I was going to be doing this for her. But let me say this, with Dr. Borishad's, I'm going to say it correctly. That's the way I'm going to say it. With Dr. Jordan told me how to say it. With Dr. Borishad's vision, with her support, and under Miss Jackson's direction, I can say with confidence to all of you, the best is yet to come. And thank you so much. So I'd like to present first CSMB, and this is Jawan.
Hello everyone, my name is Jawan Ferris. I come from Collegiate School of Medicine and Bioscience. As like most students, I partake in after-school activities such as HOSA, soccer, sports such as that. But I've always seemed very interested in the medical area. So as I was talking to Ms. Mariasi, she helps in multiple after-school curriculars such as HOSA, which I'm in, and it's such like a medical program that I encourage most students to do, such as Saturday Scholars. Saturday Scholars is a program that we went to most Saturdays, and it was one of the best programs I've ever done, and I genuinely enjoyed it. So we would wake up and we would get ready, go to school, not school, but WashU. And as a student, like that felt really cool because like I'm a high schooler going to a college. But as I got ready, and I didn't really know what to expect, I was kind of nervous. This is my first time. Ms. Mariasi got us through all the way, and I'm very grateful for her, and she made the whole thing very easy. But we went in, and we started off by getting a lecture by college students that do go to WashU. And each day we had a different topic, such as the first day we were focused on respiratory areas, which I found very interesting because I do want to be a nurse, hopefully ER nurse when I'm older. And I think it really encouraged me to look more past the start of just like diseases. It kind of opened my mind to thinking about more what's really out there. And I noticed that we've talked about multiple new diseases that I did not know even existed. And we went into depth about parts of the lungs, and I found that really interesting. And especially since we went to the cadavers, which was our anatomy lab, and I thought that was so cool. At first, I was freaked out, to be honest. But as we finally got into there, it's really interesting because you're like, this is a person, this is me. But as you really get to look more into it, you really understand how the body works. And I generally recommend all this to each person because every single day I learned something new, and I came back becoming way more interested in medical than I was the past days. Great. Thank you.
Great job. Great job.
Hi everyone, I wanted to thank you everyone for coming and listening to me. So I wasn't very interested in the program first because I was in an absolutely different sphere of education. I was more an IT person. So when Miss Rice came to me with the idea of going to that program, I was excited at the moment, but I wasn't thinking that I would go far enough to it because I was thinking I wasn't more interested in it. So when I first we went for the tour, we went to WashU, we looked at the beginning of the program, at who's going to be there and what we're going to do. I felt more interested in it because it's something that I believe I, as a student, wouldn't be able to do in the future if I wouldn't take that program. So I can say that the program gave me a lot of knowledge about humans, how they're built and stuff like that. So also it allowed me to develop a lot of teamwork. Teamwork is, I believe, very important in this time. And doing something solo wouldn't really work as well as if in a team. So also, I really like the anatomy lab. Like, it was something that I wasn't expecting. As I went into the room, I was thinking that that's like a kind of model, not like a person. So when I came closer, at the moment I got like freaked out and stuff like that. But then I kind of like got used to it. So it's a unique experience, someone that a lot of people wouldn't ever experience. So I'm really thankful for that. And the program is very, very important for a person that would like to go in medicine. It's a very important step for him.
Great job. Mr. Steele, would you also stand up? The principal, the proud principal of Collegiate. All righty. I'm sure Dr. Berry would be here if she could. And to continue on in our spirit of excellence, let's talk about a perfect ACT score. A perfect ACT score. Did you hear me? A perfect. Perfect. Let's proudly recognize Pierce Roman, a senior at Collegiate, another Collegiate student, who recently achieved a perfect score on the ACT. Pierce's academic discipline and commitment to excellence have earned him a full, come on up here, a full scholarship to the University of Missouri, where he will begin this fall. In a moment, we will play. I'm just giving you all time to cue it up. Okay, in a moment, we will play a short video spotlighting Pierce's journey, followed by something. Okay, let's look at the video first. Pierce, have you seen this?
My goal throughout the entire time was to get scholarship opportunities from the ACT, especially at Mizzou. I received the email that I got my ACT score. I saw the score, and what I did was I made my parents guess what I got. When they found out what my score was, it was sort of, it was a huge moment. Obviously, it was just it was life changing. If it had to be one word, I think, to summarize how I got that score, it would be practice. I would look online and find practice tests and just do really as many as I could. I think Collegiate's focus on academics and just having a rigorous curriculum was really essential for me. I would give a shout out to Tutor Tom and Dr. Chippendale for preparing us for the math, science, every section of the ACT. After school, we would come by, they would prepare us for each individual section, they'd teach us strategies, tips for how to prepare. So that was an opportunity that I had at Collegiate that was really essential for me. I think that the practice I gained there and some of the tips I learned was really essential to gaining that score eventually. Sort of what I'm doing right now is exploring what I'm going to do in the future, but I'm definitely looking at sort of, political science as one of my majors. Sort of looking at potentially law school afterwards. I'm not entirely sure what career I want to have yet. I do have a vague idea of what I'm interested in. I have an idea of sort of what path I want to pursue and perhaps, research, law, and that sort of thing. So I would just say taking a lot of time out of, your day, your week, just dedicating time to making sure that you have a full understanding of what the test is really about. I would say that's probably the advice I've given to people for the score I received. Good evening, everyone. I just sort of want to talk a little bit more beyond the video about this ACT score. So I would say that in terms of Portrait for Graduate, I think that part of getting this score, I think that really embodies sort of of course, the college readiness aspect of it, but specifically what I thought was really important was sort of the self-directed learning aspect of it. So it took, as I said in the video, a lot of time outside of school towards looking over resources on the internet, finding practice online, and just sort of dedicating a lot of time towards making sure I achieved the goal that I actually wanted to achieve. But I also definitely want to mention just how much of a resource it was having the availability of those resources at school as well. I think that collegiate really provided the ability for a lot of us to be able to get good scores, and a lot of us were able to sort of meet those goals in terms of scholarships and being able to get into good colleges. So I definitely do want to give a shout out as well to Mr. Steele, who is here today, just because he was really essential in promoting the program as well, the ACT readiness program that we had after school in preparation for the ACT we took in April. So yeah, preparing for the ACT, it took time during school, it took time after school. The first ACT I took was in April of last year. It wasn't until December where I finally achieved the score I wanted. So it did take some time, but I think that sort of being purpose-driven, having that goal in mind of getting those scholarships and getting those opportunities is what ultimately I think led me to getting that score. So yeah, I'm just really happy about the availability of resources through FCLPS, through collegiate, and I think that's played a huge role in me being able to get to where I wanted to be. Thank you.
Once again, congratulations. And just thank you for your perseverance. Thank you for everyone who contributed to your success. Congratulations. And we're going to be following and looking forward to hearing more great things. Thank you.
Go ahead. Mhm.
Okay, and then we have our state champions once again, Vashon Boys Basketball. We celebrate Vashon Wolverines on their 2025 Missouri Boys Basketball State Championship. Vashon claimed their sixth straight state title, continuing a legacy of athletic excellence, leadership, and resilience. Congratulations to the student athlete, coaches, families, and school community who made this season unforgettable. Truly unforgettable. Vashon, your continued dominance sets the bar across the state and speaks volumes about the strength of St. Louis Public School athletes. Just a few upcoming dates. We have April 10th, Reimagining St. Louis Public Schools presentation. We're still in phase 1, and that's going to take place at Harris Stowe University. We also have the Community Cafe and Parent University taking place. The next one after that will be April 19th, where we will meet here at St. Louis Public Schools from 10 to 11 a.m. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Borchade. Mr. Ronell, can you come up? In lieu of what Mr. Conover has asked for, we are moving public comment up from the agenda. Mr. Ronell.
Thank you and good evening. Protocol having been established, out of respect for our board members and their mission to conduct district business, we will continue to enforce guidelines for public comments. They are as follows. Citizens interested in commenting should sign in between 6 and 6:30 p.m. Each commenter will have up to 3 minutes to address the board, and each commenter must remain respectful and refrain from using names or speaking derogatorily about anyone. If you are not allowed to speak, you may submit your information in writing and return to the next board meeting. Finally, only one individual or group should speak to the same point on one topic or one closely related topic. First, we will have Velma Bailey.
Good evening, members of the board and the superintendent. I'm very glad to be here again to talk to you about a program that I think is very important to the children. And I've been here 1 board meeting, 2 board meetings. Now this is my 3rd board meeting. Each time I come, I check the board, the little pad, and I put that I would like to have a response to my comment, and I have not received one yet, so I know today, the 3rd time, is going to be the charm. You know, when I look at the activities that we all do, I think about, you know, you receive in the measure that you give. And some of the children in our district are wholeheartedly and looking forward to taking part in swimming lessons. We have provided lessons for the district at no cost for 2 years. We had a proposal in to present lessons to the children this year. We've got more than 100 charter school children signed up. And if the legal firm of the district may have made a mistake and they thought we were just taking children to swim, and maybe that's why they thought that there was some danger to the children, maybe they might like to reconsider their decision. But we are taking children to swimming lessons, which is one of the most safest activities that there are for children. And the CDC has recommended, with children dying at epidemic rates from drowning, that swimming lessons is the best way to prevent that. As in fact, the CDC says everyone should have access to basic swimming and water safety skills training. Making swimming lessons more accessible and affordable can save lives. And drowning is easily preventable with water safety and swimming lessons. The benefits of the lessons are children have a safe, supervised activities, which is something we're all looking for. There are opportunities to have a pathway to water-related career experiences. The children can earn scholarships, and also it aligns with the portrait of a graduate, a part of the graduate that's not addressed inside their classroom, the 360-degree view. Also, swimming gives kids a full body workout, and the children can take these skills, especially black children, into their life, and to be able to address health disparities that so negatively affect black people, like heart disease, high blood pressure, obesity. Drowning is a leading cause of death for children, especially children 10 to 14 years of age, and most of those children that are black in that age group are also black boys. So thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to the law firm looking at that issue, and maybe they did make a mistake and not understand. So thank you for your time.
Margaret Hannah.
Good evening. My name is Margaret Hannah, and I have proudly served as the school counselor at Nahed Chapman New American Academy K-5 for the past 3 years. Tonight, I'm asking the board to delay the implementation of reducing the Newcomer program from 2 years to 1 across all levels, elementary, middle, and high school, and to make a student-centered decision. Part of my role is guiding students and families through their transition from the Newcomer program to their ESOL center school. This semester marks the 6th time I've led this process. I'm passionate about this work, but this past month has been overwhelming. With these proposed changes, I am responsible for transitioning 332 elementary students. With just 33 school days left, it is not feasible to give each student the time, information, and dignity that they deserve. As a certified school counselor, I am bound by the American School Counselor Association's, also known as ASCA's, ethical standards. The very first one, A.1.A, states, school counselors have a primary obligation to the students, who are to be treated with dignity and respect as unique individuals. Rushing this transition undermines that commitment. These students deserve more than confusion and uncertainty. When I meet with students to let them know that they are transitioning, and then throughout the semester, I am often met with a variety of questions. Their questions are simple but powerful. Will I still have pizza for lunch? Who is my teacher? Will my siblings, cousins, friends, will they join me? Where can I play soccer? Will my new teacher know that I'm still learning English? Why do I have to leave? These are not just logistical questions. They are about feeling safe and about being seen. ASCA Ethical Standard A.1G reminds us to respect the roles and rights of families. Yet over 430 families have not been told that their children will be forced to leave early and have had no role in these proposed changes. When families enrolled, they were promised 2 years. Now we're breaking that promise without their knowledge or input. This change may have good intentions, but it is being rushed. Had we been included earlier, we could have planned thoughtfully. Instead, we're being asked to act without data, communication, or transparency. Please, let us do what is best for our students. Delay the implementation, involve families, honor our word, and let us transition students with the care and respect they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you to our board.
Dr. Borshade.
Thank you. At this time, we will have a presentation from our Chief of Schools regarding academics. It's going to be an update, a high-level update on our professional development, as well as our summer camp.
Good evening, President Cousins, Vice President Davis, members of the board, Dr. Borshade, and members of the public. The work of the academic office centers on the SLPS strategic values. This evening, we want to draw your attention specifically to joyful and engaged students, personalized supports and innovative pathways, and highly effective educators and leaders. Those will be the focus of this evening. In order to meet our student success goals, the work of the academic office must be focused and cohesive so that all students can reach every milestone that they've set for themselves and that we've set for them. I'm really excited tonight that we have some students here to share what a portrait of a graduate means to them as it relates to their most recent HBCU tour. We had students who visited Hampton, North Carolina A&T, and Howard University. I would like to invite from McKinley, Kayla Manderbach, and from Soldan, Shante Snofke. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shante Snufke. I'm a junior at Soda International Studies High School. And during the HBCU tour trip, I had the opportunity to grow as a culturally aware student. Visiting historically Black colleges and universities allowed me to experience environments where culture, history, and identity are celebrated and deeply embedded in the college community. I learned how these institutions were founded to provide education and opportunities during a time where African Americans were excluded from many colleges, and that history still influences the strong sense of pride, tradition on each campus. From my experience on the HBCU trip, I saw how culture shapes not only social experience from those who attend, but also the academic programs, mentorships, and support systems offered. For an example, North Carolina A&T emphasized programs that celebrate Black excellence and community engagement by having a Black Women started program for women empowerment called Sisterly Essentials, dedicated to the incoming freshman women every year to engage in community as they are ushered into their college years. The university also had a statue committed to 4 men who protested during the civil rights movement back during the time where segregation was still an issue that prevented colored men and women from excelling. Hampton also had different buildings named after different African American leaders of all kinds of career walks, such as biology, English, and law. This experience immensely inspired me to think about what I want to contribute in my own culture in the future as I proceed with my education in pre-law and legal studies as a soon-to-be senior aspiring for justice and wanting to change the dynamics of the world for the benefit of all. The tour also helped me appreciate diversity within the Black community itself. Every school had a unique atmosphere, student body, and history. Hampton, for an example, had many people from different kinds of backgrounds, whether they were Black, but also white, Asian, and Hispanic. They celebrated that within the many buildings they held on campus, including their library, and even simply just taking the walk around. Every tour guide we had was heading to a different but yet inspiring direction into their desired field, which gave me a reminder that everyone has their own ideas, and they are as different as they equally can be. This made me more open-minded and respectful of different backgrounds and experiences, which is a key part of being culturally aware. It reminded me that wherever I go, understanding and respecting different cultures help build stronger and more inclusive communities. Overall, the HBCU tour trip was a powerful experience that deepened my cultural awareness and showed me that the value of embracing and respecting diverse backgrounds, something that I'll carry with me throughout my education and the future career. Thank you.
Good evening. Can I? Okay. Sorry. Good evening. My name is Kyla Manderbach. I attend McKinley Classical Leadership High School. I am here to share my experience from the HBCU trip and how it has shaped me and gave me a new perception on my perspective on colleges. The trip helped me reflect on what I want to major in and what steps I could take to help me get me there. During the trip, I had the chance to visit 3 incredible colleges and connect with some amazing students. One of the highlights was our visit to Howard University, which was the last school on our trip. The campus was stunning and had a bunch of opportunities, and I also had the opportunity to speak to 2 freshmen that attend there. I had a chance to hone in on my skills of communication while speaking to them. They helped me understand my options and how college can really change me as a person and what opportunities I could take to help me get there. Our conversation provided the values interesting into what I could do now to get a head start in my college journey by becoming more college and career ready through the advice of starting my college essay early and also getting my recommendation letters in early, which gave me a strong head start, I feel personally. We also shared how a student that goes there, she decided to take a break from sports. And this also helped me open my mind of how taking a break could also help her mentally and physically as her years in college. The trip also exposed me to new perceptions on Black culture and Black history. I learned about a real life changing agents that attended North Carolina A&T. When they were college students at A&T, we learned about the courageous actions of the A&T Four. 4 students who attended A&T in 1960, they did a stage sit-in at a whites-only lunch counter. The trip made me very cultural aware of how HBCUs came into existence and is still thriving today. Their peaceful protest sparked a movement that eventually led to change, and it was fantastic to learn about this piece of history on the campus that it happened on. Overall, it was an unforgettable experience, and I am very pleased that I was able to go on it, and I hope more students will have the opportunities to. Thank you very much.
I just want to acknowledge Dr. Carter. Thank you, Principal and then Dr. Haymore, who is not here. And thank you so much, Dr. Sherman, for pulling this all together and making this possible. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Dr. Carter, could you stand one more time, please? Could you come up to the podium? Yep, I'm gonna get you. She really has. I wasn't here. I think you were recognized. I think it was on my birthday.
Yes, ma'am. Happy belated.
Dr. Carter has been, you've been a principal at Sodan.
This is my second year.
This is your second year. I think oftentimes we don't give flowers when flowers should be given. But Dr. Carter, you have done a phenomenal job in transforming Sodan.
Thank you.
In the 2 years, I know I've been on the board for 4 years, and I'm sure other board members could chime in. When I first got on the board, it was 2 schools that we heard about all the time. Sodan and Gateway Middle. Sodan and Gateway Middle. I mean, I can publicly say we lost, I think, 1 year, Secretary Jones, is it safe to say, about 20-something teachers at Sodan. It was very challenging. And we didn't know, we didn't understand and know what was going on. But when you were hired on, the biggest question was, could she do it? Would she do it? Would she be able to do it? So I want to publicly commend you for an outstanding job that you have done with you and your staff in turning Sodan around. I've been hearing nothing but outstanding work that you and your staff has done at Sodan, and to see this young lady be able to come and give an outstanding testimony of her experience, that takes leadership. So I commend you for the work that you've done. Thank you so much for your service.
Thanks, President Scully.
Can I
The
just
bones
add-
were there. It was just putting different systems in place that are working. So I appreciate you saying that.
And I just wanted to add the Soldan graduation is a whole vibe. So for my remaining board members, I recommend, they're all great, but Soldan is pretty cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that was our second HBCU tour of the school year, and our plan to do another one in the fall and spring of next year too. We've seen it's been really impactful for our students. We want to continue with that. Now on to the rest of the agenda. I'm super excited to have heard from students directly. Now we're going to hear some things that we do as school systems to impact them. Our academic agenda tonight is around professional development plans, Camp SLPS, and some graduation updates, so you can see exactly when the graduations will be. As Dr. Borchade shared, this will be a very high level overview for each area because there's so much detail. We would be here all night, and I know there's lots of other presenters coming after me. So each year, SLPS develops an annual professional development plan that supports all staff. This plan is aligned with our district goals, and the start of the next school year actually is in the summer. Our summer PD begins with learning for our school and district leaders. You'll note that this summer we will have an Operational Leadership Institute from June 3rd to June 6th, and an Instructional Leadership Institute from July 21st to July 25th. That was at the request of our school leaders who felt like taking some time in between the two would be helpful for them and allow them to get ready to greet their staff in August. In August, we'll be welcoming our teachers back with 2 weeks of learning and preparation. You'll note that we have a strategic focus on supporting literacy in all content areas, and we'll be devoting 2 full days of this work together in that realm during this year's back-to-school sessions. There is also plenty of time for classroom preparation and school and district-based learning. During these 2 weeks, school leaders and their teams will reinforce several key topics. You'll see there's some here that are leader designed and others where there will be modules provided. Having coherence and alignment across our system is really important because that is how we ensure that we support high quality teaching and learning in every classroom and every school. In addition, the leaders designed opportunities provide them the ability to tailor their learning experiences for staff based on their comprehensive school improvement plans. The comprehensive school improvement plans at the school level will identify evidence-based instructional strategies, like we've heard about this year around gradual release of responsibility and academic discourse, among others, that helps anchor what that school's professional learning will look like throughout the course of the school year. Over the course of the school year, there are several days dedicated to both district and site-wide PD. These days are identified every time SLPS runs through a calendar process, and so the next time we run through a calendar process to adopt our 26, 27 calendar, et cetera, we will go through the same process. I want to share also that our complete professional development plan will come before the board for approval in May. This is a high-level overview of what our annual calendar and some topics are. Now we will move on to Camp SLPS. As you can see, Camp SLPS this summer will be taking place from June 2nd to the 27th. It will be open all days except for on Juneteenth. As of today, I'm really excited to share we have 2,392 pre-K through 8th graders enrolled already, with registration continuing through the middle of this month. And we already have 250 high schoolers enrolled. And that number generally lags for summer programming, but we know that will continue to grow. As you can see here, we will have 10 elementary sites, 1 middle school site, 2 high school sites, and 4 specialty sites. Site determinations were very much a collaborative effort between the academics office and the operations and facilities departments. We want to make sure we are working in schools where there's not a lot of work that needs to be done over the summer, because we know that on August 18th, everyone will be coming back to school. We want every school to be ready. Summer leaders at this time have been selected, and the teacher selection process is happening now. In fact, today the summer school leaders were here this afternoon to review the 1,000 applications we've had for teachers during our summer programming. You might be wondering what our structure looks like. Our structure includes a 2-hour personalized learning instructional block in ELA and math at the elementary and middle levels, along with a choose your own adventure. What this means is students will have 2 hours during each day to participate in a choose your own adventure. As students are enrolling, their parents get to identify and rank the adventures they would like to have. Each student will participate in 2 different adventures, one for the first 2 weeks and one for the second 2 weeks, and they will also get 1 field trip per adventure. Some of these are STEM-oriented, theaters, sports, arts, etc. We want to make sure we have something for everyone. High school students will have the opportunity for both credit recovery and original credit through our school's PLP platform. They will be on site working through that and have support so that they can get through all of their credits. Our summer graduation will take place on June 27th at Roosevelt High School. It's important to have that information ahead of time so that we are all ready. And last, this is a reminder of our upcoming high school graduations. They will all occur between May 15th and May 18th this year. We are super excited to celebrate with our graduates, their families, and staff, and cheer them on as they move on to their post-secondary goals. As I shared, that was a very high-level overview of our Camp SLPS and professional learning. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Dr. Dino, I do have a question. When we're talking about the camp, the summer camp, what are we looking at on transportation? Are we transitioning from the current, are we still using the current transportation services, or are we transitioning into the new transportation? Do we know?
We still use our current transportation
We will
services.
still have them under contract?
Yep.
Okay.
Our new contract starts on July 1st.
Okay. Board Member Hubbard.
I was wondering, I have 2 questions. Can you tell me more about the literacy conference? Like what topics? Or who's
Sure.
leading
So
it?
our primary focus is to ensure that all of our teachers receive science of reading training in the entire system K-12. We have just finished our last module where all of our principals and our academic instructional coaches have received science of literacy training at once a month from staff at DESE and Ed Plus, and we're going to be bringing that to ensure that all of our teachers have that as a pedagogical base. And then other pieces within that will be focused on our literacy framework. The things that we're learning in our reading and writing initiative, we're writing into all of our curriculum development plans, and we'll be bringing forward for you a phonics recommendation later this month, and so if that were to be approved, then that would be a major component of that training as well. And for secondary teachers, also incorporating literacy across their content.
Thank you. And then, can you tell me where did it go? Schools PLP is and what original credit means?
Certainly. So Schools PLP is our online platform that we use in our virtual environments for students to take courses. So it's the same.
So PLP just means personalized
learning platform.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
Thank
I didn't
you.
know you. Yes.
Thank you.
Personalized learning platform. Thank you. And original credit means taking the credit for the first time. Credit recovery means if you took a course and you didn't pass it, or if you wanted to increase your grade, then you would take it to recover the credit later.
Okay, so if a student wanted to take a more advanced math in the fall, they could take the one they would have been slotted into for the summer. Can you take any class?
Students work with their counselors to identify the courses that they need to be on track for graduation. And so there's not yes, you can always pick whatever class you want, but there's definitely a process for that.
Yes, they can. Thank you, Dr. Dino.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Dr. Dino? Thank you, Dr. Dino.
Thank you.
At this time, we will hear from Dr. Smith regarding student support services and a high-level overview on how our registration is going.
I think we're already on.
You just turned it off.
Now I'm back on. Okay, thank you. Another brief presentation, but very impactful. I will be coming to the next meeting as well, just to kind of keep you updated on the number of students who are confirming their intent to return to SLPS. As always, we talk about our student success goals. We know that all the collaborations that we have within student support services are paramount to making sure that we are helping all of our kids meet our success goals that have been established by our board. Our through line across all of our student goals are strategic values. We know that we want to make sure that in all our students' experiences, that through line is alive and well, to make sure that at the end of their experience with us, they are college and career ready critical thinkers. In order to do that, we have some promises that we made to our students around the outcomes they'll have and the competencies that they will be able to implement in their own lives based off their experiences and their opportunities that we provide, in SLPS. So that's our competencies for the portrait of a graduate. Our brief agenda today, which is to talk about our intent to returns, our new applications. We're going to talk about how we're going to be moving to the focus system. That'll be very brief because you'll hear more in depth about our focus system from Chief Natasha Mitchell. And then we're going to talk about how we're acknowledging our families on their intent to return. So we talked about last time how we were promoting early registration in SLPS. It was an important process so we could understand the prioritization for transportation as well as resources we need as far as the number of students that's going to return and the number of staff that we needed to meet the needs of those students. The registration goal was set. Our goal is to make sure that every student that's earmarked to return to St. Louis Public Schools also does so by confirming their intent to return to SLPS. We'll continue to track all of our daily registrations through August 18th of 2025. I do want to make sure that I point out so that any families that's listening know and understand that just because we had that early registration timeline, that does not mean that we're not continuing to register our students. That does not mean that you will not be prioritized for your transportation. We just had that early cutoff so that those individuals want to be the first when those routes were being developed, and they'll be notified in May. But please continue to submit your applications and know that you will be a priority in SLPS for transportation and resources. So our registration update, these are our most current numbers. I don't have to read those to you all, but I do want you to know that we have a cutoff when our reports are due. So those are the numbers that was due as of the date our reports were due. But as of today, our intents to return are now at 10,845. And individuals that have interacted with that new application have been 2,294. But having said that, we do have some new applicants that we make sure that they're going to complete the entire enrollment confirmation process. So out of that 2,294, as I mentioned last time, some of those individuals were individuals that either live outside of our zone, are not really students within our district. They may live in the county. They do have a desire to be in St. Louis Public Schools, but they're not zoned for our school. Some people just kind of filled out the incorrect application. They filled out a new application, even though they were returning families. So we have been doing some cleanup on those applications. Having said that, we had about 534 individuals that were actually new coming to St. Louis Public for the first time. And so as it shows here that we're doing everything that we can to make sure that we help those families confirm their registration. So whatever it is that they need to complete that process, we're making sure we provide those things for them. So it is, again, another collaboration with our student recruitment team, with our ESOL department, with our early childhood department, and with student support services to assist with things such as lead, physicals, immunization, those types of things. One thing that I'm excited about is normally we offer those services like our wellness clinics to our current students or currently enrolled students. What we're doing to close that gap and make sure if there's families that start the enrollment process, but they may have some gaps, they may not have their lead testing done, they may have a lack in the last time their child had a physical, they may need some immunization updates. So we're opening those clinics and those things to those families that have started the registration process but may have some gaps in what they need to confirm their complete registration and get those documents uploaded. So through the leadership of our superintendent, we're opening those clinics up to those individuals. So when the student recruitment and registration team are reaching out to those individual families that may have not confirmed their attendance because they have some of those gaps, they're able to offer those services, let them know where those current clinics are, and they're able to participate in those services. So that's very exciting. We will be moving to the Focus system. I'm not going to steal Chief Mitchell's thunder, but it is our new student information system, and we're excited about that because we'll be able to have more real-time information and data on those families and those applications being captured in our system. So I look forward to you hearing more about that system from Chief Mitchell. As always, we are very grateful to our families that continue to show their commitment to St. Louis Public Schools. We wanted to make sure we acknowledge those families. So all of the families that return their intent to return was sent a postcard from our leader, Dr. Borishade, and in collaboration, with the communications department. These really nice postcards were made and sent to families just to thank them for returning their intent to return and for choosing SLPS again and letting them know that we again choose them in return. And that is it. Any questions? Thank you.
Hold on one moment. It's not that
Not
quick.
so
Try it.
You tried. It didn't work. Board Member Conover.
Thank you. First of all, I want to commend you on this process. It's, from what I have seen, as someone who's not always familiar with the details of the process, as a new board member, it seems like we're making significant progress here. So thank you for all you're doing. I just wanted to ask, I know based on some recent news today and experiences we've had in St. Louis over the last, I don't even know how many years, unfortunately, a lot of the charter schools in our city will close sort of unexpectedly right before the beginning of the year. There's often a need for quick and heavy recruitment and registration during that time. Do you feel that your office has what you need if that were to be the case? We just saw a story with Kairos today about that. So I'm just wanting to make sure we're providing you the supports you need and are doing everything we can to help you out.
In my opinion, yes, we always stand ready in student recruitment and retention to make sure that any family that would need to have a place to call home as far as their academics are concerned, we're ready to. We talk to them about the different schools, the themes of the schools, the benefits of attending certain schools. So yes, we do stand ready. We have a recruitment team that has grown. It was 1, now it's 3, and they're ready to hit the ground running as far as anything that we need to make sure that we let those families know that SLPS is a place that they would want to educate their children. So yes, we are prepared and ready.
That's what I love to hear. Thank you, Dr. Smith. And I'm always impressed with how this district handles these quick changes in student enrollment. And I'm very excited to see what your team does with that as we head into the new school year. So thank you.
Thank you.
Board Member Hubbard.
I don't know if you can answer this, but I'm just curious, are the new students mostly like pre-K entries or are they all over?
Yes, so we do have that data, but I'm not going to try to quote it for you today because I don't have the exact answer, but we will get that information back to you, and I'll give it to Dr. Borishade, and she'll make sure you receive it.
Thank you.
Secretary Jones.
Thank you, Dr. Smith, for all your hard work. My question is about the new system, the new school software. How will it handle, just say, for instance, you have the seniors that will be graduating this year, and I know we've often talked about how they can reach back. How will it allow the school system to go and reach out to those students once they're gone? Are they going to be dropped out of this system, or how does this work?
Chief Smith, Mitchell, can you come up? Thank you.
Yes, we actually
own the servers with Tyler SIS, and so that data, we will maintain that data forever, and so we will always be able to go back and retrieve any data that we need to. Additionally, we are migrating over all of the existing data, and so we will always be able to access any transcripts, student records, things like that for students that have graduated out of the system.
Vice President Davis.
Dr. Smith, so I feel like we've covered this before, but I might have forgotten. In addition, in the registration process indicating the need for transportation, are families also able to indicate the need for before and after care?
Yes.
And what do those numbers look like so far? Again, putting you on the spot.
Yeah, and I won't quote you numbers that I don't know off my top of my head, but I'll definitely get those numbers to Dr. Borisha Day and provide those to you, where we are, those that indicated that they want before and after care through the application process.
And are we projecting that next year we'll be able to maintain the same level of service as this year?
Yes, the plan is to maintain at least the same service level, but again, that's going to be a conversation with finance and then Dr. Borisha Day's final.
So, yes, we've already spoken with finance to make sure that there are funds for that.
Thanks.
Dr. Smith, I got two questions. When you're saying in regards to their vaccinations and things of that nature, what are our partnerships looking like?
Yeah, so we have several. We have Affinia Healthcare. We just have different vendors that help us to provide those services. BHC. We have different wellness vans that come from like Washington University.
So is it split up like for the areas, or how do we?
Yeah, sometimes it's based on availability. So based on availability in the different areas of the schools that are able to host those clinics, they're moved out around. So we have an entire schedule of dental vans, vision vans, immunizations, physicals, and the schools that they'll be at any particular moment. Some schools will have several in a week because they may have vision on one day, they'll have dental on a day. Some of them try to combine those and have as many services as they can on one day, so families are not feeling like they'll have to come multiple times. But I can make sure you get that schedule, Brown.
No, I was just curious.
Yeah.
You don't have to give me the schedule. And the other question that I asked, and it helps that they're kind of like, bam, right here in our face. But Nahi Chapman, how does the whole registration and things of that nature, like what does that, can you kind of give me a walkthrough with what that process looks like for them? Because I know a lot of them don't have English. Like, do they have support systems to get them through the whole registration process and things of that nature? And what does that look like, especially with the physicals and getting them what they need?
So Chief Mitchell will touch on some of that again, but there's things that they check in the enrollment process as far as what language they need the application to be read into them so they can relate to that particular language. And then, as I said, we have a collaboration with the ESOL department, so those families receive that language support through the application process that they need. Now, if they need some additional resources, as far as they need to know where the particular physical vans are, they need some particular support in vision or getting lead screening, again, we help communicate those things to the ESOL department, and those things are communicated to the family in the language in which they need the support.
Okay.
So it's a continuous collaboration.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Now you can
okay.
run away.
At this time, we will hear from Chief Mitchell and Mr. Poole. They would tell us about technology and communications.
It's like a party. Good evening, President Cousins, Vice President Davis, and members of the board. We are going to have a two-part presentation today, briefly talking about the upgrade of our website, but also a technological series of activities that Chief Mitchell is going to speak to that will answer some of the questions you've already posed about some things this evening. So you're still back there, right? Okay, so as far as the website goes, I'm going to have Carl, who of course was working on this since before I came here, give a little insight about where we're beginning with this in terms of the vendor and what the vendor is able to provide. And then I'll give a brief overview of what we're hoping to accomplish with this refresh and why it's important to what we're trying to do. First, you've all seen this before, our student success goals. You've seen our strategic values, and you understand what portrait of a graduate is. How you are able to relate that, however, to the technology that's involved with making sure that we communicate not only with our students appropriately, but with their families and the community at large, is part of the reason why we're going to be upgrading our website. One thing that's very important to understand about the St. Louis Public Schools brand is that it's important to make sure that it's a competitive brand, meaning that we tell our story to all of the various audiences using the technological advances, style, and branding guidelines that should drive who we are, how we're represented, and the overall story that we have to tell. So when we talk about the vendor who's going to help us to achieve that, I'm going to ask Carl to speak about that, and then we'll move on with the rest of the presentation. Carl?
Good evening, Dr. Budashade, Board of Education. I want to first of all thank you. We came to you and we proposed Parent Square, and you approved that the contracts for Parent Square to become our new vendor. It's been 4 years since 2021 since we've had a website refresh, and it may or may not sound like a long time to you, but if you think about the amount of technology advances that we've had since 2021, you'll understand that it's time for us to refresh our image. And so I'm very excited about Parent Square. In fact, we brought them here along with two other potential vendors to speak to the cabinet, and they asked questions from their individual areas of expertise to help us hone in and find the right vendor for us, and we believe we found that vendor in Parent Square. Our current vendor is Blackboard, who was bought out by a different company, Final Site. So that site will be sunsetting at the end of this academic year, and so we will be starting on July 1st of this year with our new web vendor. Thanks.
Thanks, Carl. So the thing that's important to keep in mind about our website refresh is understanding that the first key is to plan and strategize about why you're doing it. Now, the interesting thing about the SLPS website is that it is a bit dated. It is a bit convoluted sometimes. And there's a lot of information because everything is public-facing. When everything's public-facing, you face potential security risks. You also have issues with how effectively you're able to upgrade the information that you have available. In the digital marketplace, what's important to keep in mind is that you constantly have to feed the baby. And the baby is the website, meaning that all the good news, all the general news, all of the things that we need the public to know, we should be constantly feeding that website to ensure that that information is available to the various publics. We have not been able to do that, but we are going to do it. And we're going to do it by making sure that we have these defined goals that you see here. The number one that you're going to see is to create a content strategy. Why are we communicating? What are we communicating? When are we communicating it? As opposed to having a website and just having it and not feeding it, as I mentioned, you just have the ability to say you have a website. Most businesses use websites as a part of a strategy that is going to be focused upon making sure that you can tell your story when no one else is telling it, that you have the opportunity to share your voice to those various publics. Our content strategy must do the same. And to accomplish that, we are mining all of the various sources that we possibly can to make sure that our website is going to be vibrant and robust all the time, not just when we get around to it. So that's key to what we're going to be accomplishing. The other elements that you see there are all important. Let's talk about the technical requirements. It's going to take some work. Board member Conover, you mentioned last time what you want to see done. Well, and I did mention that I would love to do it, but we've got to put some funding behind it. And we're not trying to break the bank because we are running a tight ship. But what that means is that we've got to be aware of bringing things up to par. You can't get by in this day and age with a 6th grade website when you want to have a high school graduate. And that's what our website needs to be at this time. We also are looking at the design. There's a tendency sometimes to think because we're in the industry of education that we all have to be the same. In business, as we know, we have a competitive marketplace where we carve out our own identity and make our own space so that people can tell who we are and what we stand for at any given time. That's the reason what I've charged the team with is to make sure that we are going to design a website for the angels, so to speak. We're going to make it beautiful, we're going to make it interactive, and we're going to, again, make it robust. So the visual design, the front-end development, all of these elements that you see here, including how we design the database usage to make sure that we're reaching the key audiences in an appropriate way, are essential to our process. Next, we're going to talk about how we're going to deploy and maintain that site. One thing I'm going to point out here is at the top, search engine optimization. When people look for the St. Louis Public Schools, it brings us to a website, but it brings us to a lot of other different things that we don't necessarily want associated with that piece of who we are. So we're going to change how we approach that dynamic by improving our SEO optimization on a regular basis. And the last one, again, I've already mentioned, security. I was a little bit surprised when I arrived to find out everything was conglomerated into one site. And there's a reason for that. When you have too many people with too much access to information, you can't necessarily have a level of control that ensures that the security of the site for all of the users is equivalent. So we have to ratchet that up and make sure that we are being very focused on our security protocols. And finally, the scalability, increasing traffic. Not having a website for the sake of having a website, but having a website that people want to visit, where people know they can find the information that they're going to be looking for and that is going to be readily available. We also are talking about optimizing our database queries and server performance to make sure we don't have so many quirks and issues that arise with the website that it becomes less useful to the user audience than we want it to be. So those are the website refresh goals that we have in mind. As we look at the status, we've had now officially 2 meetings since I've been here. 2, right? 2 meetings. We've had to kind of work with the vendor a little bit to get them on our track. Sometimes vendors want to feed you what they've sold to others, but we're a little bit too astute for that, and we've asked for new and differing approaches than they initially proposed, and we're going to get that, despite the fact that they initially said that they could not do it. When you're looking at the completion elements here, I want to reinforce that that first bullet saying we identified the general SLPS goals and objectives for Parent Square. That's exactly where we did it. They wanted to come in with a box that we were going to just step into, and we gave them an octagon because we wanted to make sure that we had the ability to make the site all that it can be. And the next steps that we're going to look at here are the extended website discovery process. That means that Carl and the team are going through our existing website, mining what works that we can keep, looking at what we would add to a new refresh site, and discarding anything else that is not going to be consistent with that site. The partnership plan that you see here is pretty much a gauge of how we're going to proceed through this process. You heard Carl said that our current website sunsets on June 30th. And then on July 1st, we need to have a new website. These steps that you see in this particular preview are going to get us there. But after we get there, it's not enough to say, yeah, we did this, we've got a new refreshed website. We have to constantly monitor it for its effectiveness, for its scalability, and for its usefulness in terms of meeting our overall mission. There will be more forthcoming as we look at this process going forward, but the next thing I'm hoping that we will all have to say is we have a new website, it's performing excellently, and our messaging and our control of that message is being heard by the audiences that we intend. And that's all I've got for that update. Are there any questions?
Secretary Jones.
Let's finish up the presentation.
Okay, your turn.
All right. Good evening, President Cousins, Vice President Davis, members of the board, Dr. Borshade, community members, and listening audience. My name is Natasha Mitchell, and I'm the Chief Technology Officer. Thank you for this opportunity to provide an update on our strategic technology initiatives. For my portion of the presentation, I'll highlight 2 key areas that are central to our vision for a more connected, responsive, and future-ready district. Our implementation of the Focused Student Information System and our upcoming Parent and Student Technology Fair. As you can see from all the previous presentations, we are a very collaborative group. There's been so much overlap because that's just how much the different departments and the cabinet members have been working together. So hopefully we can answer some previous questions. Similar to the Parent Square, we are looking at basically our Focus SIS timeline. So Focus SIS provides a uniform platform that will streamline enrollment, attendance, grading, and communication workflows across schools. This timeline outlines the phased implementation of Focus. Currently, we're finalizing data migration and a systems configuration. I'm going to lift up a few key dates from this timeline. One is that the Focus enrollment application for new families went live on March 12th. That link is posted on our registration website, so that's linked live right now. Additionally, the last day for data entry in our current system, Tyler SIS, is May 23rd. That is in alignment with our record-keeping day. Data migration will be completed by May 27th, and we will go live officially with Focus on that same day. As we continue executing our phased rollout aligned with key training and communication milestones, we have May 27th through 28th. Summer school site leaders and teachers will receive dedicated Focus SIS training to ensure readiness before the summer session begins. We really wanted to prioritize Focus in summer school because it gives us an opportunity to test out the platform in a bit of a vacuum, learn all the things we need to learn before we go live in August. June 14th through 25th, secretaries and bookkeepers are going to participate in multiple differentiated PD sessions tailored specifically to their roles and their level of need. Beginning July 28th, parent portal communications will go out to all of our existing and returning families, letting them know how to guide them through key actions such as verifying your enrollment, signing technology agreements, and then managing those before and after care requests. And then August 7th, all key stakeholder groups across the district will participate in at least one 3-hour focus training during the back-to-school professional development. We want to ensure the full system is ready for the 25-26 school year. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the technology fair for students and families. In addition to modernizing our systems behind the scenes, we're also being intentional about strengthening the home-to-school technology connection. On August 5th, as part of our district's back-to-school fair, we're launching a student and family technology fair embedded in the big fair. At the Back to School Technology Fair, we're offering just-in-time professional development for parents focused on practical tools they'll need from day one. This includes how to register their students via Focus, if they have not already done so, navigating the Focus parent portal for grades and updates on their students, using Parent Square for communication, and then accessing the Zoom parent app for real-time transportation tracking and live transportation updates. We will actually have members of Zoom on site that day to talk with our families. Each of these platforms plays a critical role in increasing transparency, supporting attendance, and fostering two-way communication, strengthening the relationship between the district and our families. And finally, we are doing some classroom-ready technology training. So we're engaging students and parents directly through hands-on training with classroom-ready technologies. We'll explore Microsoft's latest educational tools, creative production apps like iMovie and podcasting for digital storytelling, STEM pathways such as coding, zSpace, Minecraft EDU, and 3D printing. These sessions align with our instructional technology goals and help build a district-wide culture of innovation. We want every student and parent to walk away from this event feeling empowered, equipped, and excited for the school year ahead. As we look ahead to the new school year, the Focus SIS rollout and the Technology Fair are key steps in building a more connected technology ecosystem that's responsive, equitable, and future-ready. These efforts ensure our systems work better for staff, students, and families, and that everyone is prepared for a strong start to the year. Thank you for your partnership as we continue building a stronger, smarter infrastructure for teaching and learning. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Is this the end of the
It was a 3-part presentation. We should have given you a
Okay,
warning.
I guess you all might want to come on up because it was a lot of red lights flashing. So I'll start with you, Mr. Conover.
I can make them flash.
No, go ahead. Who you got, Mr. Conover?
I'm going to start with Mr. Poole and Mr. Mitchell, if that's all right. Thanks so much for the presentation. As I did say to Mr. Poole, I think communication is something that we've not always been at the top level of, and it's something that I'm hoping that Mr. Poole and Mr. Mitchell can continue to move us in the right direction, and their whole team as well. This is a great first step, and I'm very excited about this refresh. So that's really all I wanted to say, thank you for your hard work on both of these. Ms. Mitchell, thank you for your hard work on the focus systems and everything we're doing there as well. I'm really excited about this. We do a lot of great things here, and I don't think we talk about them enough. So I'm really excited to see us do more of that. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Board Member Hubbard.
Are all of these going to be mobile site compatible? Is that baked into the process?
You want to start?
Yes.
Without having to use an app?
So right now, yes. So Focus is web-based. Zoom, there is a parent app. Right now, Zoom is in the process of looking at a way to use a web-based portal as well for parents that may not be wanting to use an app.
Yes, as it relates to the website, it is also going to be, you can use your phone. There is an app that can give you some more features. For instance, one of the biggest things we hear about is how much people either love or hate robocalls. And so Parent Square is going to allow the parent to actually decide the way in which they want to be contacted. So if you want robocalls, you will get that. If you prefer a text instead, you can receive that. Or maybe you want all of your you may be getting contacted by the school, by the district, and by the sports team, right? So you can elect to have a digest. So instead of getting 3-4 pings a day, you get one at 5 p.m. So it was important for us to allow the users to control how they're communicated to.
Okay, great. And one last nitpicky thing. Do we have a way to... Sometimes I get emails with an attachment that has a QR code I'm supposed to use to reach the website. And sometimes I'm reading it on my phone and I can't tell it to read it. So I would really love if we put more links in and not just QR codes. QR codes are very great, but thinking through the steps of how you have to actually access one can be troublesome.
It's a bit of a challenge, but we hear you. Some things are just buggy, right?
We'll work through that, Mr. Poole. Mr. Poole, we'll work through that.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, I just wanted to kind of indicate that we have to get to the point where we're able to understand those functionalities across different phone platforms. But I hear you.
Thank you for all that you do. I have a question about the use of iPads and the technology in the schools. I have the opportunity to have company with some second graders, some fourth graders, and fifth, and I just sit back and ear hustle, and they're talking, and I'm worried about their safety online because they're talking to people, and they're not even sure who they're talking to, and it's getting kind of scary because these kids are talking about a strange man online, and they don't know who that boy is online, and I just would hope that during this fair, you can have a section where parents will learn how to secure their students' data or their iPad, and maybe they can learn how to go back and check and see who they've been talking to. A lot of parents might not know how to do that, and a lot of students, I don't know, we need more security so that they'll understand that this is a dangerous time and they can't be sharing all their information online when they use this technology. And the second question was about language use. When you first get online during the development of the new program, will the parents, students have have various languages they can choose from? Just say, for instance, when you start on the website, will there be Spanish, Vietnamese? Can they choose that, and then all of a sudden, all the information on the website will convert to the language that that person is speaking at that time? Or if, like when we were having a communications committee meeting, for those who have a disability and can't see well, if you have an audible presentation just for the parents or the student who, have difficulties hearing real well. So that was my question.
Board Member Jones, I'll address your first question. That's a fantastic idea. We fully plan on developing modules for parents, students, and staff on cybersecurity and digital citizenship. It is part of the planning for the technology department, so having a booth set up at the Parent and Technology Fair is a fantastic idea. So we will definitely have that. And then be on the lookout as we begin school year 25-26 for those modules for our students and staff as well. And then I'll let Mr. Poole take the website question.
On the website, we don't currently have that functionality built in based on the spec, but I love the idea, and I think that we should look at what we can do to incorporate that. So thank you for that suggestion.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Great job, team. Okay. And now we will hear an update from operations. Mr. Watson will give us a high-level 10-minute update.
Good evening, President Cousins, Vice President Davis, members of the board, Dr. Borchade, listening audience, community members. I'm Square Watson, Chief Operations, and going to provide a quick overview, 10 minutes, 3 phases. So we're going to talk about facilities, food service, and last but not least, transportation. I start with facilities. Facilities led by Director Mr. Anthony Graffin-Reed. And of course, we start with our strategic values. Our operations supports instruction as a whole. It ensures that we have classrooms that students can learn, teachers can teach. It also gives us a classroom setting for highly effective educators, as well as students to become critical thinkers. Through some of our partnerships, which you'll hear later on in the presentation, we have partners in the district that make sure that we stay in compliance, and again, with our facilities, food service, transportation, as well as our safety and security. So as we stated earlier, as you heard throughout the day, here are student success goals, with operations as a whole supports our reading and math. You'll hear later on about how we support and looking forward to our college and career readiness, and again, making sure that we provide a conducive culture and create a climate for our students' well-being and for their learning. Portrait of a graduate, as we heard today with the scholar with the ACT score, the perfect ACT score, we support that in all means. Again, with the goal of making sure that we have critical thinkers, competent, and students that will be competent in a diverse world. So I'll begin with facilities. And our agenda, what we're going to talk about is just some of our strategic priorities. We're going to talk about some of our work orders, our operational, and some of our building maintenance performance, and then some of the compliance components that address health and safety, and some of our next steps, our solutions, our future. Our commitment and pursuit of operational excellence that supports student achievement and our staff well-being. Our priorities center around ensuring that the learning environments are safe and clean, that we conduct regulatory compliance, which will be discussed in the upcoming slides. We have created preventative maintenance programs and initiatives, as well as infrastructure upgrades, which generally consist of our roof replacements, repairs, exterior doors, and our window replacements. This slide provides an overview of the work, in essence. Based on our most recent monthly joint review, which we call an MJR, facilities has completed over 8,023 work orders out of 8,440 total work orders, which indicate a 95% completion rate. With all of the ESSER and Prop S projects that have been conducted throughout the schools and throughout the district, establishing a preventative maintenance program has been the focal area to reduce breakdowns, extend the asset life of the equipment, and ensuring that the learning environments remain comfortable and operational. For our HVAC, or heating, ventilation, and air conditioning equipment, and our water bottle filler stations, we have created a biannual filter replacement program that comes through as work orders to ensure that we are timely with our filter replacements. This slide speaks to maintaining a healthy and safety environment, environmentally friendly, by conducting what we call our AHERA, or our asbestos 3-year inspection, which is a federally program that was established in 1986. Our hazardous materials, which is a state program to ensure that the hazardous materials, more or less some of our chemicals that are mainly used in the high schools, that they are disposed of properly. And this is conducted in both the spring and the fall. We also conduct our lead dust sampling. These in our early childhood rooms, as well as common areas, which are gyms, cafeterias. These for our scholars for 6 years and under, and they're also conducted in the spring and the fall. And we've been doing this lead dust sampling since 2007. And the most recent, which we've been conducting this lead and water testing since 2016, which was post-Flint, Michigan water crisis. Now this has become a state regulation in which the state has in terms of compliance, we have to ensure that we're under 5 parts per billion, where we manage all of the potable water sources, those that students drink from and that staff cook in, which we have approximately 1,200. And we've always been around less than 10%. That number fluctuates between 5 and 10%, in which if there's any issues with the water and with the testing, those sources are generally, there's repairs that's made, we retest it, and then we bring it back once the testing results come back positive. If there's any issues with the water or with those fixtures, we would then make the recommendation to abandon those particular fixtures. We continue to look at our health and safety. One of the critical areas, particularly during the winter time and even now, is our pest mitigation plan and strategy. We have installed door sweeps on a lot of our exterior doors, including our newly exterior doors that have been installed under Prop S. We also have other code compliance inspections, and the list are below. But these are annual inspections that we do every year to make sure, again, that we're in compliance with some of the state inspections. Now, this particular slide I'm really most enthused about. And as we look in the future for our future workforce, one of the areas that we're looking to expose and introduce our students to careers in construction as skilled trades, construction management, which is some of our partners, as well as our architectural and engineering firms, and operations as a whole. We've had the opportunity to work with the JAG program and our Learn and Earn programs. We currently have staff engaged with the students at Vashon in the JAG program, in which they have been introduced to carpentry. They have done work such as repair walls, and I think it was a presentation that was done prior to by Ms. Williams. They repaired walls, painted walls, replaced ceiling tiles. Definitely been not only just verbal, but some hands-on activities for our future scholars and our future young workforce that we're looking to bring on into the district. In addition to the Learn and Earn programs, currently we have 3 students that are working with the facilities department. And again, we gave them a real life scenario where they actually went through this as an interview. So they came in, they interviewed, and now they'll get exposure not only to the work within the facilities department, but again, just some of the day-to-day operations that take place with facilities and operations as a whole. And the goal that you see highlighted, our commitment is to invest in our students and with their unlimited future to become not only a portrait of a graduate, but also future leaders. Okay. I'll move on to our food and nutrition services. This is led by, well, you see our agenda, which we'll talk on some of the talking points here. But this is led by Director Spencer Wynn, who's here today, and Ms. Tanisha
Can you
Williams.
stand, Mr. Wynn? Thank you.
Mr. Wynn, as well as Ms. Williams, our accountability specialist. And we also have Chartwell, which is also in here just to kind of show support. So they have a district executive chef, Mr. Stephen Jeffries. There's district chefs, Chris Bell, Drew Johnson, Yolanda Warren, a regional executive chef, Jay Cates, division chef, Kat Thayer, and just a host of other team members from Chartwell. Also listed here speaks to some of the training that will be discussed in future slides and special events which include student job fairs. This particular slide speaks to the training that's focused on food quality assurance, proper cooking techniques, food preparation, serving line standards, batch cooking. There's also training over recipes, how to read recipes, and scaling them down for service. We've had several PAC meetings in which we have food tasting. We've introduced soul food events at McKinley, a wellness day where we show different type of samples, again, from what our scholars receive as they go through the cafeteria serving lines. So this next slide shows just the variety of menu options. I know just from previous questions from the board around ensuring that our scholars have water, that they have salad, but also just exposing them to different type of food. This menu fun day, this lists a lot of different functions across the district where we have events or fun days such as Have a Bagel Day, Cookie Day, Tater Tot Day, Italian Food Day, and the list goes on. These next two slides are going to show our participation rates over both breakfast and lunch. The breakfast goal is 57%, and you will see that for this year it's in the blue. Currently we're at 47%, and you'll see from previous years, due to some of the inclement weather for January and February, the participation rates were a little bit down, but they are trending up. For those items, those menu items, they're constantly being reviewed and we're replaced with more popular items. And again, you'll see the same for our lunch participation. The goal is 73%, and then you'll see some of the data points, and again, with the dark blue line speaks to the participation rates that exceed from previous years. This next slide speaks to some of the financials and some of the data points, including the meal counts. We serve approximately 11,287 meals per day since August 19th. We get rebates from DESE through the breakfast and lunch programs, and some of the expenses, they include our labor, our food costs, and office supplies. And again, the goal is to make sure that we provide a hot, healthy, and quality meal to each and every student. This next slide speaks to surveys. Surveys are conducted in our high schools and middle schools. We do have QR codes that are posted at all of our high schools. We also have paper surveys for students to actually provide, again, some feedback so we can get better in making sure that we provide not only the nutritious meal, but making sure that we also serve meals that students like to eat. And again, once we get this feedback from the students, this information goes back to Chartwell, in which the dietitians are able to incorporate some of these menu options into future meals. This slide again speaks to some of the surveys, in particular to one of the dates where you see that the The reddish, pinkish color is a little bit high, and I believe that was on February the 24th. Again, those are some of the data points that we look at, and we go back and make some adjustments to our menu options. This Discovery Kitchen is actually a video, but in essence, this is a connection between nutrition, education, and cooking. Again, this is something that we promote every month to each of the schools, and again, get the opportunity to tie in education with our food. So the video is actually showing. Just to kind of get a glimpse of what the Discovery Kitchen looks like. And as I transition into Global Eats, the Global Eats program introduced new recipes developed by Chartwell. These recipes have unique ingredients with various cultures incorporated into the school meals, which makes lunchtime a little bit more exciting. These authentic recipes are created in partnership with the chefs, and they have specialized cuisines from China, Korea, the Caribbean, just to name a few. And what you see here is a student choice. So some of the students you see in the second slide are voting. This is where they decide what menu options through sampling food and through just by voting, so we can again incorporate these items into future meals. Again, just more pictures of our scholars. This is what we call our mood boost. This is helping students make a connection between what they eat and how they feel. And this is Lucky Tray Day. This is mainly throughout our elementary schools. This is to encourage participation in our breakfast and lunch program. Okay. Now, last but not least, transportation. So you will get more information. Again, this is something that we're going to provide visibility to the board, to our community around our lunch plan and timelines, and we'll talk about next steps. So this particular graph speaks to where we are and is projected out until May. Just to touch on some of the highlights here, where on March 21st, 2025, at approximately 5:34 p.m. I could probably turn around and everybody would know what that it means, but we had a fully executed contract with Zoom. And from that date, that's when the real work began. We started as a cabinet on March 31st, 2025, where we got the opportunity to test our what we call our dry runs. This was an opportunity for cabinet, for us to go and see what's been routed, to go and actually run a route, to see stops, to make sure that they're safe, and all of these things just to kind of speak to the thoroughness and to the process, and the investment and the intentionality that we will do for the duration of this between now and the start of school, August 18th. This is going to ensure a successful first day of school. A lot of the work that's been going on behind the scenes involve Ms. Mitchell and our technology department, so I definitely want to shout out the technology department, our communications team, Mr. Poole, Mr. Carr Mitchell, Mr. West, and the communications team as a whole. And I'd definitely be remiss if I wouldn't mention the Director of Transportation, Assistant Director of Transportation, and the team, Mr. Casey Davis and Mr. McNeil. Working, again, weekly meetings with Zoom, having weekly meetings with transportation, almost daily ad hoc meetings with the communications department as we continue to push the envelope and ensure, again, a successful first day. Some of the information that we are, in terms of where we are now, again, I mentioned about the cabinet dry run. Our routes will be, we have our first set of routes that will be due to Zoom on April the 10th, which is this Thursday, in which they will have a final version of the routes that will be sent out to schools and families on May 15th, which is something different. Never before have we sent out routes or at least communicated to families prior to the end of school. They would be on yellow sheets of paper so that we would know, and everybody would know that yellow, of course, to coincide with the bus, is a new beginning. As we meet with Zoom, we talk about some of the items listed on the transition plan, which include routing and staffing. Just to kind of give you an idea, to date, this was as of last week, I'm sorry, there was 176 certified drivers. We have 194 applicants that are currently in the pool, in which we're looking to host another hiring event on April 15th and April 16th. We're, again, on board and training that's continuous, and our fleet and equipment, we're looking for our fleet to start arriving as early as May. Again, new 2026 buses with air conditioning, and we'll be closely monitoring and getting those updates on a weekly basis, as well as getting updates with our routing. Any challenges that we may foresee, such as when we did our drive run, we're making sure that we provide that feedback not only internally but also with our partners in Zoom, and again making sure that we communicate those items through our communications department, our communications team, but also to our families and stakeholders. So this concludes our presentation for today. Any questions?
Secretary Jones.
My first question is, I think in regards to the lead, you talked about the water fountains and things like that. But does the district have filtration systems built into the different schools? We talked about the lead, but do we have a filtration system?
So with the new water bottle fillers that we recently installed, they do have a filter system, a mechanism in there, and those filters are the ones that we replace on a biannually, twice a year.
Okay. And the next question was about the food vendors that we are currently using, which is wonderful. But due to the current political climate, I had some concerns about I know we're utilizing a vendor to provide fresh vegetables and fruit, that kind of thing. I'm hoping that in the interim we can utilize some of the extra space that many of our buildings have to teach. I know some of our schools have gardens, but to actively put up greenhouses and show our students how they can grow their own food to produce great tasting meals, and to also perhaps, make this something they can do with their families, and we can utilize some of our old schools as well to become a place where we can grow vegetables, thousands of pounds of fruits and vegetables. Because I don't know, just relying upon what's going on now in the economy, I'm just trying to think ahead and hoping that we can, in the future, consider growing our own vegetables in our own buildings. And when it comes down to our students, I'm hoping that one of these days that our students will also get information on how to become entrepreneurs with their newfound skills in the culinary industry, because I had the opportunity to taste some delicious food from Clyde C. Miller's culinary program, and it was so good. I just love food. I do. It was good. I mean, the homemade rolls were good. I thought the chicken was going to be dry. It was so succulent. Oh, my goodness. So I'm just hoping that we could start thinking like that, preparing our students to be self-sufficient by the time they graduate from our schools, because God only knows what's going to happen in this economy. So thank you so much.
Board Member Hubbard.
I definitely second Ms. Donna's suggestion. My first question was about students with allergies. What's our philosophy about feeding them and or keeping them safe? And then I have a question about buses.
If I may, I'm going to defer that to Mr. Wynn.
Thank you for that question. I myself am a registered dietitian. We have 2 registered dietitians on our St. Louis Public Schools team, so we definitely take allergies very seriously. So what we do is we first get the request, we have that go through the nurses, and we get a signature from their doctor so that we can be able to document that. And then our team is able to make a menu for them and be able to get those modifications so that they're able to be safe. We also do training for our staffs on site so that they're able to know those students. And something that we're working on through our CEP program, when students go through the line, the bare minimum is that they press X and that just counts them for the day. But we're actually working on a system where they'll scan in and it'll be another layer where it'll be able to show that information to whoever's at the line. We know that our staff, sometimes they have to take a day off or something. Sometimes there's somebody subbing in, and so that'll be able to flash on the screen, show that they have that allergy so that they're able to do another double check. So definitely take allergies very seriously.
Thank you. And my next question is about the busing in the end of May letter. When we get new kids coming in, will those routes change as we adjust for, everybody that's going to come? It's not mathing for me that we're going to say, okay, your route is this, and then more students might come in, their neighbors or in the next neighborhood up, that will change the route. Am I thinking the wrong thing?
So the plan is the plan is to accommodate all of our students. And that's why we ask for the priority online registration, so that we can build the routes and have our students and families prepared for the upcoming year. And so if new students come to us, we would add them to the route, but it's not rebuilding the route from scratch. So let's say you're going from point A to point Z. They will be added to the existing route, not creating an entire new route. That's the plan.
Okay, thank you.
Board Member Conover.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Watson and Mr. Nguyen, for coming up and answering questions. Appreciate it. I just had a quick question about what our target goal is for hiring drivers or staff related to the buses. I think you said, so I might have my numbers a little bit wrong, but 171-ish that are hired, 196 they're in an interview pool. I was just curious what our target is. I know we've discussed this before, but I just wanted to make sure I was on the right track.
I just want to begin by saying we're not hiring drivers.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Zoom. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Borshed.
So that was 176 certified drivers currently already certified, and 194 applicants. So our goal is 243.
Perfect. That's all I needed to know. Thank you so much for the presentation.
No other questions? Chief Watson, your team, all of your team has done a phenomenal job. I want to commend you as well as Dr. Borshed in getting the transportation component down, the meals down. I know that was a lot of concerns we had in the past in regards to that. I hope we have a good partner in Chartwell. From what it seems, the variety and the options that the students have, I don't think that's been done before, so I think that's good to see them actually have an input and a say. We had the opportunity to go to Gateway, and the students, it was interesting how they were excited about the food. One of the biggest concerns we had in the past was seeing that a lot of the students were throwing their food away. That was very alarming to me as a board member and as a mom, being concerned that when we asked the students how they felt about the food, and they were like, I don't eat the food at all. That's hard to hear. So this is good news to hear that you all are working diligently in regards to that. It's actually mesmerizing to hear that you're already working on giving bus assignments, hopefully by May. I know the weight of the world right now is on everyone's, at this point, to hope that we get it right. That's been one of the biggest challenges that we want to focus on, making sure that we get transportation right the best that we can, because we know that that's been an issue throughout the United States, transportation, but one of the biggest, challenges that we've had here in St. Louis Public Schools. So hopefully we're on the right track to be in the position that we're in with this being April. You're saying you've already started working on the routes. You've done dry runs on the routes. You're looking to get the routing system to Zoom. I just hope this is one of the best partnerships that we can feel good about. So, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. And now we will have our Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Johnson. She's going to bring us a quarterly update. Thank you.
Good evening, all. President Cousins, Vice President Davis, other members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Borashade, communities, and other listening stakeholders. Good evening. I will be sharing with you tonight, the third quarter financial update, which covers the time period of January 2025 to March 2025. As you can see, our financial objectives are closely aligned with the 6 strategic values, emphasizing sustainable approaches that support and enhance student outcomes. This presentation will specifically highlight the strategic value of equitable and multiple sources of data, demonstrating how our data-driven decisions contribute to our mission. Finance plays a critical role in supporting the key competencies of the portrait of a graduate by ensuring that resources are allocated effectively and efficiently to foster the development of each of these competencies. Through strategic investments, finance enables programs and initiatives that cultivate college and career readiness, critical thinking, and communication skills. It supports the creation of inclusive learning environments that promote cultural awareness and competencies while also providing opportunities for collaboration and leadership, empowering students to become the change agents in this ever-changing world. The district fund balance. Our district fund balance for FY 23-24 is projected to be at $231 million. Looking at this, our state requirement only requires 3% of that fund balance to be ready. For FY 23-24, we're projected to be at 54.36%. Again, well above that 3% state requirement. Our current FY 24-25 fund balance is projected to be at $197 million or 45.43%. Again, that's well above the 3% state requirements. In addition to our state requirements, SSLP policy DIAA states that SLPS must have an appropriate fund balance. So this is an additional requirement that helps support the requirement of having an adequate fund balance. We will talk about all revenues by their source. We will look at some payroll expenditures and also look at some non-payroll expenditures by category. This slide right here shows the operating fund balance trend starting in 2015 and projecting out to 2027. The key areas I want you to focus on, again, when you look at 2023, our projected fund balance is at $231 million. When you look at the ending of FY 24-25, again, we're projecting that our fund balance will end at $197 million at a percentage of 45.34%. Again, these are just estimates, and this information could change depending on the finalize of our final audit budget. When you look at the bottom two estimates, starting at 2026, going to 2028, You see that the fund balance is showing 197 million, but you see a slight variation in the actual ending balance percentage. This is based on a couple of lower expenditures that we're expecting throughout the year, basically trying to balance our budget. Again, as shown, these are just estimates, and as we get to the final fiscal years, we shall see the numbers to be more solid. Our FY25 quarter 3, these are just the categories we're going to touch upon today. When we look at revenue, that shows that it's a part of our property and sale taxes, our DESE transportation, adult education, special education, and some of our small grants. When we look at payroll expenditures, you have to think that we're looking at salary increases, we're looking at extra service pay, like our before and after care and our Saturday schools. Breaking down our purchase services, we have 5 categories. I won't go through each one, but I just want to focus on a couple. When we look at instructional pupil and staff services, our professional development and coaching, that deals with some of our services and consulting services that we have. For instance, our PLEP program, that is for Superintendent Network, professional coaching, and then our legislation liaison, Mr. Steve Carroll. When we look at, again, transportation and food service, we're looking at transportation as a whole, all of the vendors, and then we're looking at Chartwell as our food service. Again, when we go down and start looking at professional service, those are dealing with our liability, our property liability, and some of our fiduciary liability that we're seeing in terms of our insurance claims. Looking at our supplies and materials, we're looking at our instructional materials, our operational materials. When we look at capital outlay, we're looking at furniture and technology that is above $5,000, software that's above $5,000, and then we're also considering land, building, and other improvements. And finally, we're looking at our short and long-term debt. These are our general obligation bonds, both the principal and the interest. This slide right here shows our third quarter revenues. What I want to bring your attention to is that we have received $235 million of revenues as of the third quarter. Our year-to-date total is $310 million, and that's at about 70.2% of the revenue budget. Again, when we look at our revenue budget, our budget started off at $442 million. As you see each quarter, we've grown from $20.6 million in quarter 1 to quarter 3 at $235 million, equaling a total of $310 million of revenues received to date. That's pretty good. When we look at our expenditures, we're looking at, we have expended about $119 million in the third quarter only, with a year-to-date total of about $323 million. That's at 56.2% of our revenue as of the end of March. Our anticipated expenses, if you can see, are expected to exceed the revenue by a difference of about $133 million. When we're looking at the budget allocated of expenditures of about $576 million, and then if we go back to the revenue coming in, it's about $445 million. So that difference is basically attributed to expenses and costs of the prior Prop S projects and some of other initiatives. If we want to break down a little bit further, what does the actual expenditures in categories? We look at salaries at about $141 million, benefits about $57 million. When we look at purchase services, it's about $64 million. Supplies, materials, and short-term debt all totals to $323 million. So that's more explanation of the breakdown of those expenditures. Now when we talk about our fund balance plan spending, again, for 23-24, our projected fund balance is at $231 million. I want to make sure that everyone understands that this can change based on the final audit that we are soon to be receiving. Our estimated budget revenue is at $345 million. Our budgeted expenditures is at $380 million, which leaves an estimated fund balance spending of $35 million. We are planning, as shown on the previous slides, to spend more than our current projected revenue, which will reduce our fund balance operating by that $35 million. This $35 million is due to a couple things. Increased cost estimated of our payroll, increased transportation cost, increased special education cost, that's our managed care programs, staffing, nursing, etc., and our insurance, which is more property liability and fidelity. The fund balance, as shown for 2024 or projected for 2024-25, again, is projected at the $197 million, which would be about 45.43%. When we talk about our funding, federal funding impact, I want to make note that our general operating budget of $380 million, our federal grants make up a 13% of that GOB budget. As you can see, some of our heavy hitters are our ESEA, which is coming in. This is allocated, actual allocated amounts. So the difference here is what you're seeing before under the federal revenue. That difference is the federal revenue slide was showing a budget estimate, where this is showing the actual allocation. So that's the difference. Some of our heavy hitters, again, is ESEA, which is all of our title programs, at $16.7 million. Our IDEA program, which is at $5.3 million. Of course, our food and nutrition, which is at $19.6 million. And then we have other grant programs within that makes up that $48.7 million. These, again, are our federal funding impact. Financial summary. SLPS is in a strong financial position. We continue to demonstrate our commitment to responsible stewardship and long-term sustainability. We are anticipating our unrestricted fund balance to be at the $197 million. We are continuing to develop financial strategies and goals to support the higher costs that you're seeing this year and to address any future costs under the following categories: payroll, transportation, and let me just make a note for transportation. Our transportation cost this year was about $40 million, and we do anticipate for next year that our transportation costs will be lower than the $40 million. Special education and insurance. We are planning for decreased fund balance spending in the future years going forth, and our future concerns that we keep in mind every day are basically dealing with the legislation, open enrollment, vouchers, and the state and federal uncertainty of that funding source. In conclusion, through careful planning, strategic budgeting, and prudent financial management, we have positioned ourselves to meet the current needs while also investing in the future success of our students and communities. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Well done. Thank you.
Board Member Conover.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson, or Chief Johnson. Appreciate it. Just wanted to give you an opportunity to emphasize something you said there at the end, which I think has caused some, not what you said, but things that have been said previously, has caused a lot of community confusion. So could you just emphasize again, the $35 million that's being spent this year is a planned spend down of the fund balance that's going towards expenditures that are improving the productivity success of SLPS schools?
Yes, that's correct. And I'll stress also that we are required to have 3%, and we are currently at 54.36% of that. So that means we have a strong fund balance and supporting our fund balance spending.
Thank you so much.
Board Member Hubbard.
This may be a dumb question, but could you explain to me, like I'm in 5th grade, why we don't have any final numbers until the audit is complete or given back to us?
Well, right now, they're in process of drafting our financial statements, and there may have to be some budget adjustments done, and so they can't give us a final number. Once that financial statement is basically drafted and approved, then we may have to readjust our ASBR, which does readjust this final number. So right now, we're giving an estimate because we don't want to give a final confirmed number until that audit is complete. That feeds into whatever our final number is.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I guess that concludes your
I'm
presentation.
sorry, that concludes
Just
my
looking at me.
presentation.
We'll move to the consent agenda. The consent agenda is voted upon in its entirety. Any board member may ask to have any item on the consent agenda removed to be voted on separately. The consent agenda will include bills to be paid, budget transactions, and an HR transaction report. In order to use time within the board meetings more effectively, the school board also utilizes the consent agenda whenever appropriate. At this time, is there any items on the consent agenda that is in need of being set aside? Board Member Conover, I think you had a question on one of the consent agendas due to your job. It's been pulled. At this time, is there any other questions in regards to the consent agenda? Seeing none, I need a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda budget item 12.
Seconded.
It's been moved and second. Is there any discussion?
I'd just like to say I'm very excited to see Mr. Carroll's renewal on here. I think he's been a huge asset to this district, and I'm excited to see his work moving forward.
We're doing 12.1. Oh. Any other discussions? Ms. Vaughn.
Mr. Conover,
Yes.
Mr. Hikes,
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Cousins.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Items for discussion. Action item 13.
So I'm going to begin the discussion, and then I'm going to have our general counsel come up and share more information. So we have a system where we have our administrators and staff swiping in using Chronos, and there is a policy that addresses this situation where our administrators and several people who are listed do not need to swipe in. And I want our general counsel, Laura McLaughlin, to come up and share that policy that we have.
Turn your mic on.
Good evening, and thank you for your time today. As Dr. Borishati indicated, we have 3 different policies, board policies, relating to attendance at the district. Generally, those policies talk about tardiness, how to report attendance, and also requires the positions to clock in and out each day. Each of these 3 policies actually has a footnote in them excluding certain positions from the policy. Specifically, if I could, specifically the policies exempt out individuals employed in a building level, administrator, director level, or above capacity from said policy. we come to you today to help clarify at least part of the exclusion, and we come today to ask that the board specifically define within that group individuals that hold the positions of cabinet member, principals, assistant principals, and network superintendents. The result of this would be that those people holding those positions would not have to clock in and out each day. They are absolutely required to report their attendance absences and record them appropriately, but they would be excluded from the policies specifically, as really the definitions actually have already applied. So it's really a clarification. I have for you a board resolution. Do I need to read it, or how would you like me to move forward? I don't need to read it? Thank you. Are there any questions?
Vice President Davis.
So what's the thinking about doing a resolution for clarifying it? Why not just amend the policies to be more clear?
We're actually going through a district-wide review of all of our HR policies, and I think it'd be more appropriate to put it in that process for later on approval with the board. This is more of an immediate resolution clarification, if you will, because I can relate. When I started here, I was told I had to clock in and out every day, regardless of the number of hours or where I was working. So it's just a confusing application of the policy to some positions that are generally not required to clock in and out because of the exemption.
So was the understanding that the reason why administrative exempt employees needed to clock in was because confusion of the policies? Or my understanding was always it was a directive from the finance department that it was necessary for some sort of bookkeeping?
Actually, I spoke in depth with the payroll officer, and that was not the case. Her interpretation was that all employees were required under the policy to clock in and out.
Okay.
Within each policy, and there are different categories, if I can, the first policy is titled Non-Certified, Non-Instructional Employees and Non-Exempt Personnel and Staff. The second policy is listed as School-Based Certified Personnel and Professionals. The third is School-Based Paraprofessionals. The payroll department was reading a sentence within each of these policies that reference all employees to mean all employees, regardless if they fell within those classifications or not.
Yeah, no, I agree. I read them. I thought the terminology was very confusing in those classifications, so I understand the issue. I was just seeking clarification about the Chronos issue. So if that's been resolved, I understand.
So with that, coming from the finance perspective, is it safe to say that the Chronos issue has been resolved before we go into approving this resolution? Because initially it seems like the challenge was, it was presented to us because of Chronos is why they had to swipe in and swipe out. Do we know that?
That may have been the position that was stated. I understand that actually the payroll department has already exempted the cabinet members from the swipe in, swipe out process. So I think that might have been a miscommunication.
Okay. And then my other question, and I don't know if this is on you, Chief Mitchell, but are you all now into the new system with the new, have you switched over to the new system yet, or is this even a part of the new system?
We will be switching over to a newer system later on.
But that is ERP.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Is it a different system
It will be a different system.
outside of what this, okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
I'll move for approval of the attendance for administrators resolution.
Seconded.
Any other discussions? Ms. Bond?
Mr. Conover,
Yes.
Mr. Hikes,
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Cousins.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Items for information, items that do not require a vote from board members. It is for visibility. For example, high school prom date, time, location, and cost is under the threshold of $50,000. Action item 14.1, donation of books from Assistant League and 350 t-shirts from Document Image Systems. Acceptance of donations.
So we have our reading and writing initiative workshop of culminating activity coming up, and there are T-shirts that are going to be donated, as well as books. And so we wanted to make sure that the board had visibility on the donation.
14.2, acceptance of 2 DESI grants totaling $1,000 for participation in the Missouri Museum Project. Acceptance of 2 DESI grants.
We had teachers apply for several grants, and they were awarded those grants. And so we wanted to make sure that the board had visibility on those grants.
The 2 schools that received the grants are
The-
CSMB and Vashon High School.
Yeah.
Action item number 15, items that require a motion from board members, community partners. 15.5, action item, St. Louis University School of Nursing provides services to SLPS in the area of public health clinical rotations for our undergraduate nursing students at schools assigned by SLPS Nursing. A SLPS nurse will always oversee any nursing services. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve items for action 15.1.
Is there a second? Second.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any discussions? Ms. Bond?
Mr. Conover,
Abstain.
Mr. Hikes,
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard,
Abstain.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Cousins.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Action item 15.2, Summer Superintendent Summit.
I'll move to approve Dr. Borchaday's attendance at the NABC Summer Superintendent Summit, June 19th through 21st in Atlanta, Georgia.
Second.
Any discussions? Ms. Vaughn?
Mr. Conover,
Yes.
Mr. Hikes,
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Cousins.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Board report. Board members shall share committee reports, announcements. Vice President Davis.
Yes, I have 2 regarding the Legislative Committee. Last Thursday, President Cousins and I joined Mr. Carroll in Jefferson City. We testified in front of the House Pensions Committee on what ended up being House Bill 404. House Bill 404 is one of 3 different bills in both the House and Senate that have been introduced, and it was the result of really a 3-year project of collaboration between AFT 420, the Missouri Retired Teachers Association, the Public School Retirement System of St. Louis. All of us testified in favor of House Bill 404. It will be a change to the legislation regarding the St. Louis Public Schools as well as the charter schools employer contributions, which will go to 14%. This year they're currently at 12.5. There was legislation introduced in 2017 that was pushed extensively by the Special Administrative Board to reduce the SLPS employer contributions and raise employee contributions in order to address very serious budget situation that they were facing at that time. Over time, through a number of factors, both the reduced contributions as well as just sort of the demographics of the system, fewer participants and more retirees, the fund has become out of balance. It's been placed on the state watch list, which means that the funding balance was less than 70%. After 3 years of discussion, numerous actuarial studies, we did finally arrive at this compromise, which will put the trajectory of the funding for the retirement system on an upward trajectory instead of a downward trajectory. It will achieve the 70% estimated in about 10 years, and in about 20 years it'll be over 90% funded. That is, of course, with actuarial assumptions if the demographics act as they could. It could be better, it could be worse. So I'm pleased to say that all of us testified in favor of it. The Charter School Association testified neutral, which we considered a win. It's actually already passed the House as an amendment to House Bill 147, which is sort of a mini omnibus bill with other pension changes, and so sponsors wanted for us to all be on record that we were in alignment on this issue, and also as a backup in case House Bill 147 had issues, they could try to pass it as a clean bill. So I'm very excited that we were able to accomplish that fix. Like I said, it's been 3 years of work and negotiations, and that I'm confident that based on what the numerous actuarial studies have told us, that we have, if this passes, we will have achieved a significant fix to the retirement system. Along those lines, we had a legislative meeting on Friday. It was on Zoom. Mr. Carroll was there and gave a very comprehensive overview of the final month of what to expect in legislation. Some that has passed, most that has not passed, and where we stand on it. So I would recommend, if anybody's interested in those issues, to go and watch that meeting. I did want to point out, as we're talking about funding issues, the first state funding issue which we will face is that the $2.5 million which we've received for the last 4 or 5 years as a line item in the Missouri state budget for St. Louis Public Schools literacy efforts was recommended by DESE. It was not recommended by Governor Kehoe. The House bill, the education budget bill, did not include the $2.5 million. Mr. Carroll is confident that it will be put back in the Senate, and does believe that we probably will also be successful if it goes to a conference committee in keeping that $2.5 million in. We are less confident that the governor keeps it in for a variety of reasons, so it is very possible that after the session we will be doing a call to action to our community to contact the governor's office and express how important that $2.5 million has been, as we've seen, particularly this year, in the reading initiatives, the reading and writing initiatives, the training, which we talked about in the science of reading for academic instructional coaches and principals, and the training which is going to be ongoing, the new phonics curriculums, and all of those things are in part made available to us because of that $2.5 million. So those is money that we can show exactly where the money went. And I have even personally seen, thanks to Dr. Boris Shade, going into a classroom and seeing how that money was spent and how it impacted a student. That's pretty rare that you can say that and have that return on investment. So it's going to be important that we continue to impress that upon our legislators, who love to say that we're doing a terrible job, and then they don't want to acknowledge when we're doing a great job, and also that the money that is being invested is worthwhile. Finally, I just want to very briefly acknowledge sort of a sad thing that happened recently. A community member brought to my attention that former board member Kathy Steyer has passed away. I don't know if any of you remember Kathy Steyer. I know Miss Jones does. Kathy Steyer represented the St. Louis Public Schools in the city on the elected board during a time where they did not have power for one term. And I'm also remiss the fact that I did not acknowledge that another elected board member who served, I think, slightly with Kathy and before that, Chad Beffa, also passed away last December. So those were two individuals who were parents. They were active parents, and they stepped up at a time when to serve on an elected school board that was essentially powerless, because they wanted to show they wanted to represent our schools, even though sometimes it probably seemed fruitless. But they were part of a collective fight, mostly led by parents like Donna Jones, like Susan Jones, like Catherine Wessling, that stepped up to serve on the elected board. So I just wanted to mention the sad passing of those two individuals, and thoughts to their family, and just to remember the importance of their service.
Anyone else? Board reports. Secretary Jones.
I want to thank you too for going up to Jefferson City and fighting so hard for the pension board. I dedicate that to Kathy Urdine and Dolores Mills and Irma Nevels, because they really fought so hard. And this has been their fight so long, and I really appreciate what you did. I appreciate you for that.
Board Member Conover.
So this is not something I'm usually very successful at, but I'm going to do my best. I think, unfortunately, this happens to be the last public meeting for Vice President Davis as a school board member here in the city of St. Louis. So I want to start with Mr. Davis. Your service to this board has been exceptional. I'm going to stop myself from getting emotional. But thank you for all you've done for this district. We're very lucky to have had you here. And I hope, despite whatever may get said anywhere else, that the folks that in this district and beyond this district know what a excellent public servant you've been for the city of St. Louis. So thank you for your service. I wanted to pause there before I move on to further comments. So I would like to, yeah. Can I keep going?
You can keep going if you like, yes.
I'd also like to recognize President Cousins. We are less sure if this is Ms. Cousins' last public meeting, but in the unfortunate event that it is, I wanted to recognize your service to this board as well. You came into this board without my support specifically, as you often like to remind me. And I have never been more wrong in my life. You have been also an excellent public service to this public servant to this district, especially given all of the malalignment you faced. I think it's very important to recognize what you've done for this district, what you and Vice President Davis have done as leaders of this district. I'm, again, not very good at these things, but I really just wanted to recognize you for that, and I hope I get to continue to serve with you in the future. So, thank you.
Secretary Jones.
Oh, how can I go on and on? I've been around since 2006. For 14 years, we did not have power. When I came on in 2006, there was an elected board, and there were parents, and we came on as parent advocates. But I must say, I am so grateful to have had Tony and Matt as board members, fellow board members, because it gave me the strength to carry on, because there were many days I wanted to just say, forget it, just give up, because there's so much going on out here against SLPS and public education in general. But these two have fought so hard, and I really appreciate you and love you so much for everything that you have done, and I will stand beside you too any time of the day. Thank you for being who you are.
Dr. Borden Shade.
So tonight, it is my honor and sincere pleasure to celebrate and express deep gratitude to SLPS. You can read yours before I.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. I think Mr. Hikes might want to say something before you all say.
Mr. Hikes.
Thank you. I just want to thank Vice President Davis for all the help he has given me as I was one of the newer board members, and all the information and knowledge he has given me to try to be the best board member that I could be. And I just wanted to know he will truly be missed, and I am glad to call him my friend. And to my president, who's going to be my president after tomorrow, she knows she has all my support, and I also want to thank her for all the help that she has given me also. Thank you very much to both of you.
So I thought about this because this is actually the end of our term, our 4 years. And I thought about this long and hard. So this is not from the hip. Normally I speak from the hip. So I really had to, yeah, I know this is not often what I do, so I had to have it written. St. Louis, our city, is an incredible city populated by wonderful people. Our history is inspiring, and we have a great future ahead of us. Like many Midwestern Rust Belt towns, we have had more than our share of challenges. Aging infrastructure, changing demographics, an uncertain tax base, the stabilized housing market, a school system that is impacted by all of these factors, and more. Uncertainty arising from a diminishing population and social and economic challenges have caused some to believe that St. Louis' best years are in the past. But I'm not ready to give up on our city or our community. I believe in our system, our resilience, and the promise St. Louis can still fulfill for all those whose futures have been entrusted to us. As St. Louis Public School leaders, we were tasked with stewarding our district with insight, vision, and an unwavering commitment to meeting and exceeding our mission of helping to mold young minds. We must ensure that they are prepared to take on the world that awaits them, which is a far different world that most of us here have experienced, especially in our youth. While the results of our efforts hasn't always aligned perfectly with our expectations, SLPS story remains one of difference making, resilience, and never losing sight of how the power of educational opportunity not only levels the playing field, but ratifies it for so many in this community. We've never lost sight of that. And though some decisions and outcomes have fallen short of public expectations, we've had and will continue to have more success than more success than missteps. The work doesn't end because those of us who serve or criticize. It continues because we believe in the schools, the teachers and administrations, and the community that entrusts us to provide young people with a quality education no matter what. And during the last 4 years, new and enhanced transformational programming and other successes the board and school district has implemented to make differences have included defeating House Bill 1552, preventing Missouri legislature from stifling off $18 million of St. Louis Public School tax revenue and gifting it to charter schools, securing millions for literacy initiatives, STEM programs, college and career opportunities, and removal of lead contaminated fishes, increasing reading scores, improving and targeting Saturday school programs that provide programs to assist students who are behind in credit hours, thereby improving their opportunities to learn and graduate, approving funding for before and after care for students, approving Parent University to assist parents with skills to help their children succeed in schools, working with Missouri State Legislature to provide critical services and resources for the district, passing Prop S, 160 million in bond issues, which finally provided funds to transform some of our most outdated, deteriorating schools, partnering with local unions to approve badly needed, much deserved raises for teachers, safety officers, nurses, social workers, custodians, and support staff, advocating for permanent fix for the long-standing issues of appropriately funding the teacher's pension, raising outdated bylaws and policy, or revising outdated bylaws and policies from 1996, granting 2.5 million. Ooh, Dr. Borchet, you and this computer. For reading programs, seeking out and obtaining matching funds for lead paint and removal in schools, creating a team, working, I want to say, supporting to create a team of principals, teachers, parents to address transportation issues and create an RFP to address the district's transportation issues. Provided families with the ability to register their children online to address their transportation needs in lieu of registering in person as was required in the past. Offering children and parents the opportunity to participate in selection of the district's food vendor by tasting dishes and voting for what they preferred as a vendor. These achievements were worth noting, and we are proud of what we've done. Many of you have shared that you've been proud of how far we've come as well. Still, we fully acknowledge that there is no avoiding the fact that the last 10 months have been tumultuous for this district. Teachers, taxpayers, parents, and most of all, students have been impacted by the decisions this board had to make. We have had transportation challenges, experienced financial irregularities, and witnessed and then managed leadership failings. What we never did, however, was fail to accept that the only course of action for each and every instance was to immediately take corrective action, eliminate or reduce the impact of those decisions, and right the SLPS ship. Fixing what was damaged, not impaired and irregularly broken, is the only decision to be made when what is at stake is so important. Our city, our children are counting on us. We are committed to them. More challenges are ahead, as the future is punctuated by uncertainty based on recent actions coming out of Washington, D.C., and ongoing issues that have come to define our city for the last several decades. There is still hope. However, I know that the progress is still possible for the city and our schools. In the past and today, whatever we've been faced with, difficult situations, we've quickly moved to deal thoughtfully with the issue and then move on to any other issues that arise. But on a daily basis, our schools have continued to operate and provide to the needs of as many students. Progress is being made, perhaps not as fast as some would like, but it's progress. As president of St. Louis Public Schools Board of Education, I understand the importance of this job and the impact it has had on the entire city and region. I also recognize that we have accomplished many good things and are ready and prepared to discuss so much more. When weighing the facts, I'm certain we can and will continue to be dedicated to the common mission of helping our children succeed. Our St. Louis Public Schools need compassionate, intuitive, and strong leadership. I say that knowing our recent history has left some in doubt that we know that the way, but I also know that we have never avoided confronting the very real issues that have resulted in headlines and strong reactions from some across our community. We received it all. We understood it. But most of all, we continue to be dedicated to our mission of educating young adults, enabling families to see their children exceed success, and showing the community that it can be proud of how we rise about the past by creating a bright, better future for all. I'm in constant state of awe when I witness the accomplishment this board has achieved. During these past 4 years. And I know without the leadership and support of Vice President Davis, none of this would be possible. During a time, this country and this city, when there's such division and disinformation among so many, we came together and stood together for the betterment of our children, family, and staff of SLPS. It is and always will be a remarkable journey, one journey I won't forget. Thank you.
Can I read mine? So tonight it is my honor and sincere pleasure to celebrate and express deep gratitude to Board Vice President Matt Davis and Member Natalie Val, who, with this meeting, will end their terms of service with St. Louis Public Schools Board of Education. Natalie Val was selected or elected to the board on April 4th, 2017, and sworn in on April 18th, 2017. She was re-elected in 2021 and has served the district for 8 years. During her tenure, she held the role of board secretary and served on several committees, including the Land Reutilization Authority, governance, and as director within the Missouri School Board Association. When thinking about civic engagement, Board Member Val helped register over 200 seniors to vote and to speak to hundreds more students about how to become involved in the political process, even before they were eligible to cast a ballot. She completed new board member training early in her first term and over time earned advanced and master certification through the MSBA, demonstrating her deep commitment to board leadership and continuous learning. We thank her sincerely for her contributions. Vice President Davis was sworn in April 27, 2021, and has provided remarkable and dedicated service to St. Louis Public School Board of Education during his tenure. Vice President Davis has been an invaluable advocate for our children and schools, consistently demonstrating unwavering commitment and leadership that has left an indelible mark on our schools and community. From his initial role as board secretary, assumed immediately upon joining the board, to his tenure as board president beginning April 12, 2022, and his subsequent service as vice president for 2 consecutive terms starting April 25, 2023 through today. Mr. Davis has embraced every responsibility with diligence, grace, and passion. Within his first 6 months, he completed the new board member orientation, quickly immersing himself in the vital work of the board. His vision and proactive spirit were further exemplified by his founding and chairing of the Advocacy and Legislative Affairs Committee. The inaugural meeting on July 15, 2021 marked the beginning of a crucial endeavor that, thanks to his leadership, was unanimously recognized as a full committee of the board on June 14, 2022. Under his guidance, the Advocacy and Legislative Affairs Committee flourished, most notably through the organization of the Legislative Breakfast. These vital events, beginning on December 11, 2021, and continuing through July 22nd, 2022, July 13, 2023, and November 17, 2024, provided crucial platforms for dialogue and engagement on matters impacting our school. Vice President Davis' commitment extends beyond our city limits. He proudly represents St. Louis Public Schools on the national stage, attending the inaugural Consortium of State School Boards Association. Vice President Davis' commitment extends beyond our city limits. He proudly represents St. Louis Public Schools on the national stage, attending the inaugural Consortium of State School Boards Association Conference on March 29, 2023, and further showcasing his expertise by presenting a compelling case study in the cost of choice and how to advocate for your district at the Consortium of State School Boards Association Annual Conference on February 23, 2024. His participation in the 67th Annual Fall Conference of the Council of Great City Schools on October 25, 2023, further demonstrates his dedication to continuous learning and best practices in urban education. Closer to home, Vice President Davis has been a tireless advocate in Jefferson City, making countless trips to represent the district on wide range of issues critical to public education and the safety of our students and staff. His commitment to ongoing professional development is evident through his participation in PELP, Accelerating Board Capacity Institute, and his consistent efforts to learn and apply what he has learned from conferences and training provided by the Missouri School Board Association. Let's take a look at some moments from Vice President Davis during his time on the board. Just a few moments. Okay. Thank you, Vice President Davis, not just for the titles you have, but for the passion, dedication, and unwavering commitment you have brought to every aspect of your service. Your leadership has strengthened our board, amplified the voice of St. Louis Public Schools, and positively impacted the lives of countless students. Thank you for believing in me to serve as the superintendent. We extend our sincere appreciation for your exceptional contribution and wish you all the best in every endeavor from this point forward. Thank you.
I thank you, Dr. Borchade. Thank you, President Cousins. Thank you, my fellow board members. I don't have a speech. I told Mr. Mitchell I was going to save the valedictories for the graduates. This has been an honor. It has been a struggle. It has been a lot of work. Listening to Tony talk, yeah, it's been a lot. And I've been sort of sentimental this last month or so, just thinking about all of the things that we've done, and I think I'll continue to think about it. But yeah, I really love the school district. I really believe in the school district, and I'm really going to continue to fight in whatever capacity for the future of the school district. We know that there have been for a long time forces trying to destroy the school district, probably longer than I even know, probably even longer than Donna Jones has been on this board, but we survive. Everybody in this room survives. Everybody that comes to work every day does it, and we see beautiful, wonderful, loving things every day in our schools. The thing that always gets me so angry when we go to Jefferson City, or I read, online what used to be a newspaper, the hatred, the vitriol, and the fact that people just want to believe that we're failing. And I know we're not. I see it. I see it in my own kids. That's why I'm here, honestly. But I also see it in everybody else's kids, kids that aren't nearly as privileged as mine are. That they have the privilege to go to school with and be friends with, and I see how they're supported by the school district and how important that work is. We always have work to do. We'll always have work to do, but I think it's important that we continue to do it. And as I think about Kathy Steyer and Chad Beffa and all the people that came before me, I know I'm just one person passing through doing my part in the service, and so that has been an honor, and so I appreciate the opportunity. And with that, I would love to continue the honor to make the final motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Vaughn?
Mr. Conover? Mr. Hikes?
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Cousins?
Yes.
We are adjourned.